What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. This upcoming week is going to be huge for the market. So I want to go over what to expect, where things might be going, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with this upcoming week, there's a lot of data points that could potentially move the market. Not so much in companies unveiling their earnings. So it's going to come down to two things. One is this right here. So the interest rate decision, and I think it's fair to assume that there's going to be that 25 basis point cut. So this is occurring on Wednesday afternoon-ish, so at 1 o'clock. So most likely the Monday and Tuesday, you're going to see a nice uptick leading into this data point. And in my opinion, I think that it's already been priced in. So this 25 basis point cut's already been priced in. So for face value, I don't think you won't see any like 10-15% move because of this. But Powell speaking afterwards and potentially alluding to maybe a October cut, that is going to be what really propels the market to the next level. And most likely, I see a lot of posts on social media kind of talking about money markets. And so right now there is a grand total of $7.3 trillion. So a lot of money has been kind of backing up the bus ever since pretty much 2022. So that's been their safe haven. And so, of course, with rates going down, you might see just a natural kind of rotation out of money markets to go back into equities. So with this 25 basis point cut, a lot of people are under the assumption that there will be a rotation similar to what happened between 2020 and 2021, during of which, in case you guys missed it, everything was at crazy high multiples. Everything was just going up. A lot of people just kind of saw it as a big bubble. Of course, generally, we kind of know what happened from there. But at the end of the day, stocks running up like crazy, like 300% in 2 weeks, 3 weeks was normal. So once again, with rate cuts, and if potentially Powell does allude to a October cut, then you're going to see mass FOMO in the broader market. Because even for right now, October the 29th, you have an 81% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut, and then a 3% likelihood of a following 50 basis point cut. In my opinion, none of this has been priced into the market as of yet. So it's all going to come down to Powell. But again, even for face value, just that initial cut on September the 27th, that could be enough potentially to cause some of this money to leave money markets to go back into equity. I don't anticipate this to drop like tenfold, but maybe a couple percent, 3-4%, definitely could be on the table. Aside from that, there isn't really anything specific to SoFi planned. So no fireside chats, no kind of news or anything like that. So it is going to be at the mercy of the broader market. Aside from this one data point, we do have initial jobless claims on Thursday and not that much on Friday. So it's going to be pretty much post the Powell is going to be all speculation. So again, something to keep in mind. Going into this upcoming week, shorts, they've been doing less and less. We can kind of even see at the very bottom here, just comparing it to the overall volume. Now it's making up roughly around 30% of the daily volume. Still a pretty significant amount, but in comparison to what it once was, which was between 50 to 60%, shorts have finally learned their lesson with SoFi. So I think that's kind of a good thing. So I think going forward, don't really anticipate any big moves from them. 8.47% of the free float's being shorted though, so definitely good to see. That kind of go lower, and most likely leading into their Q3 earnings, it should be at that 8% or potentially even lower. Looking at the options from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 27 to 27.50. I know a lot of people are calling for $30 to be on the table, and honestly, it will. I think in order for that to happen, you need Powell to really signal a future cut, because you have to keep in mind, right? The market is always forward looking, and as soon as it gets one catalyst, it prices it in, and then it starts to look for the next big catalyst. That's what it does. And if we don't have any catalysts, then the market gets a little bit jumpy. So again, just anticipate some volatility. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 25. And actually, sorry, going back to what I just mentioned, anticipate a lot of volatility if Powell does not signal a October cut. If he just says, hey, we're going to monitor the data and whatever else, blah, 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 then yeah, the market might not generally like that all too much. But based on where it did close on Friday, which was at 26.55, you have a fair amount. So 13,000 at that 26.50, 11,000 at that 26. So won't see any gamma squeeze or anything like that. This upcoming week though is a monthly chain. So that is always a lot more increase in kind of volume, but it's also quad witching. So it's going to be a lot of volatility because of that. So just take note of some of the strong walls. So at 25, you have 27,000, 26, you have 15,000, 14,000 at the 27, and then 27,000 at that 30. So again, a lot of people are calling for $30 to be on the table, which you never know, could definitely happen. With it closing on Friday at 26.55, it is right above this R2. So 27.37 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. 26.50 is going to be that strong support you really want to watch for it to hold. And in my opinion, I think it will easily be able to kind of push higher above that. But one thing did come out recently, and it looks like trade talks between the States and China haven't really been going according to plan, but we do have that 90-day pause still up until I think it's November the 10th. So there's still a lot of room and time for them to get their crap together and actually come to some resolution. But in my opinion, I think even worst case scenario, they'll just extend it another 90 days possibly. But market might be reacting a little bit to this. So just watch for 26.50 and then 25.96 as strong support points. If it is able to get above that 27.37, then you can kind of see on the table is 29.64. So potentially just a hop, skip, and a jump away from that $30 range that everyone really does want. Potentially we could be getting some new analyst ratings on a side note. So we did get the highest rating that SoFi has received currently at $29. That was put out 4 days ago by 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗘𝗧𝗓, who has a 48% success rating. So potentially we could be getting some more new ones because a lot of these that gave ratings from their earnings are a little bit out of date and a little bit on the low end, such as 22, 26, 21, 21. So at the time they were seen as relatively optimistic, but given where SoFi is at right now at 26.50, not so much. Looking at this right over here, it's above all the key pivotal moving averages that I generally like to look at. On Friday, it was able to close above that 10-day moving average. So it kind of does show that the momentum is still on the table. And looking at the market position, you see just a lot of willing buyers all the way up to pretty much 25.48, which does match with that fib level support. So again, something to keep in mind, and a good amount of flow. And so as of late, especially last Thursday and Friday, we've seen less and less algorithmic trading, which in my opinion is always a positive. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi and where you see things going realistically. To quickly go back over here, I do feel that post Powell, he won't allude to any cut. So most likely SoFi will be kind of around this R3. I don't see $30 exactly on the table just yet. Only because, like I said, Powell won't really hint to anything crazy, but most likely it'll be above this R3. Still though, a new 52-week high would be on the table. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Where do you see things going? Do you think we're going to be seeing a pullback? It's kind of one of those things that you need to sell the hype, or are you kind of, what's your general thoughts on all of that? So throw your price predictions in the comments below. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, so worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.